What's going on, y'all? My name is Brian Waldron. In this video, I'm essentially going to be breaking down exactly how we were able to exit, not cut the lease, 4 event space locations in the time that we ran BK Event Spaces. For those who don't know, my name is Brian Waldron. I did $3.5 million in sales by the age of 26 with my event space business, and now we operate the #1 event space consulting program in the country, showing over 400 clients how to find, fund, and fill their very own event space. What I'm breaking down is essentially what you need to understand and what you need to know if you are ever considering selling or even buying an event space business, and exactly the things that you're gonna have to go through before that deal comes to fruition. So in the time that we've taken BK Event Spaces, we were able to sell 4 locations: Fulton, Ashford, Blake, Dumont. This is something that I am pretty proud about because a lot of times, unfortunately, people who do operate event spaces or whatever the case may be, they end up just cutting their lease because they don't have these things that I'm gonna be talking about, and it just doesn't really make sense because you put a lot of time, you put a lot of money, you put a lot of effort into building this business, and you just never really get to see the return on it besides maybe a little bit of monthly cash flow that you get every single month. We were able to fully exit the business, get all of our cash out, even after juicing the business for several years and making that heavy cash flow. If you are considering selling your event space business or looking at buying an event space business, these are 3 things you're gonna wanna consider: assets, marketing, attorney, and due diligence, okay? This is the #1 spot where people get messed up at. This is the #1 spot right here: assets. Most deals never make it past this. Why? Because most event space owners, I would say probably overall, and this is not even for event space owners, this is for most businesses, probably about 85 to 90% of businesses are not worth jack shit. This is just the real. Most businesses, not just event spaces, this is just businesses overall, are not worth jack. Why? Because they don't have a book of business, they don't have any proper financials, there's no accounts receivable. So we're gonna talk about this in the frame of event spaces specifically, just so it kind of makes sense and really lands home. #1 is the book of business, right? And that's probably the most important thing. Well, I'd say financials too, but book of business. What is a book of business? Book of business is essentially the CRM, the leads, the data that a business has. So all the names, numbers, emails, phone numbers, whatever the case may be, of the people that you've done business with, that data is very, very valuable. If you're not collecting that data, your business sale price just dropped tenfold. So the #1 thing is that book of business, right? And that could look like leads, invoices, POs, which is purchase orders, things of that nature. If you have any real estate, if you have any inventory, all these things are asset deliverables. And when you do sell your business, what you're gonna have in your agreement, in your purchaser agreement, is something called an asset deliverable list that essentially lists out all the things that people will buy when they do purchase your business. Social media, huge one right there. If you have a YouTube channel for your business, you have an Instagram for your business, you have a TikTok for your business, these are all things that are very, very valuable to a new business. So you should 100% be building these as you build your business. In every single business, well, almost every single, in 3 out of the 4 businesses, event-based business that we sold, it actually included a lot of this inventory. Furniture, that's another, well, that goes into inventory. So all these things are very, very valuable to a new business owner. Next thing is financials. So of course, the book of business and the tangible assets are important, but how do I know any of this stuff is credible? You want to 100% have clean financials. I know a lot of business owners that haven't even filed taxes. Like, if I go ahead and try to buy your business, one of the first things I'm looking at is tax returns. First thing I'm looking at is tax returns. And honestly, that's probably the #1 reason we were able to sell BK Event Spaces, because we had financials, we had proper financials, we had tax returns, we had kept all these records, our operation, our net profit, our gross margin, things of that nature. All these things were able to be viewed by the potential buyer, so they knew, okay, cool, this is a legitimate business. Don't get me wrong, like, there's different levels of financials. Like, if I'm buying a business for 10,000, 20,000, like, I'm not gonna go above and beyond and go crazy trying to go and figure out, oh my God, let me see tax returns, let me go ahead and see bank statements, let me go, like, I might take a peek at it, but I'm not gonna make the biggest deal. It's $10,000, $20,000. But if you start looking at, like, all right, cool, I'm spending $50,000 on a business, $100,000 on a business, plus millions of dollars on a business, they wanna make sure all this stuff is airtight, 100%. Which is why I said 85 to 90% of businesses aren't worth more than the paper that they print on. You feel what I'm saying? So financials, you 100% wanna keep clean financials. Even if you're selling the business for a couple grand or whatever the case may be, people are gonna ask for this. Anybody who's diligent, anybody who's gonna do diligence and actually take this stuff seriously, they're gonna ask for financials. So just, you may as well be prepared for it, right? And the third part about this, which particularly pertains to this business, is accounts receivable. If I'm buying an event space business, I wanna know, okay, cool, what income can I project to collect on these events. Because remember, when people go ahead and pay for these events, they're typically putting down a deposit and they're gonna pay the rest down maybe like a week or two before or whatever the case may be. So if I'm buying an event-based business, I wanna know how much cash do you expect to collect? Do I expect to collect another 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever the case may be? Because that's gonna play into that purchase price. You see what I'm saying? 100%. Let's go on to step 2, marketing, right? So I've decided that I wanna sell my event-based business. I have my assets in play because I've watched Brian Waldron and his amazing videos. How do I go ahead and get it sold? So there's really only 2 ways to go ahead and do it. You can do it yourself, you can hire somebody to do it. If you hire somebody else to do it, you can get like a business broker. You can just Google business broker in New York, business broker Texas, whatever the case may be, and they'll essentially take a percentage of whatever the business sells for. Or sometimes they work on retainer if they're really, really big shot or things like that, or if you're like a really, really small business and they don't want to waste their time, they might just take a retainer. Honestly, if you're selling your event-based business for anything less than like 100 grand or 250 grand or whatever the case may be, you can just go ahead and do it yourself. You can use a website like Biz Buy Sell, sponsored but not sponsored. You can put it on Craigslist, you can put it on LoopNet. If you have a CoStar account, you can put it on CoStar, whatever the case may be. Biz Buy Sell actually works with LoopNet. So you can essentially use a website like Biz Buy Sell. There's actually a ton of event-based businesses. If you are looking to even buy one, I've seen several ones on Biz Buy Sell that people are selling. So you can go ahead and just kind of take a look that way as well. But yeah, if you're selling your event space for anything less than like $250,000, you can just do it yourself, honestly. It's not that complicated. Just be prepared though. Be prepared that if you do list it on these websites, people are gonna ask for all these things, which is why this is step 2 and this is step 1. You're 100% gonna wanna make sure that you have all these things in place before going to this, because there's a certain level, which I'm gonna talk about in level 3, of trust, right? Obviously, if somebody knows you, like if you're selling it to like a friend or a family member or whatever the case may be, like there's a certain level of trust, so they might not go that hard with the financials and things like that. But somebody who just sees you on Biz Buy Sell, sees you listing your property for 100 grand or whatever the case may be, they're gonna go hard. They're gonna look for all these different things, if, like I said, if they are diligent about this business. So you wanna 100% make sure that when you are doing this yourself, don't get antsy about this, don't get mad that people are asking for financials and tax returns and stuff like that. Just be prepared for it. Put together a nice brochure, put together a document or anything like that that just has all the information ready to go. That's what we did. It just made the process a lot easier. You see what I'm saying? Number 3 is attorney. This is the big thing that you gotta be prepared for. Anybody, like I said, who's spending this kind of money is going to bring an attorney the way it is. Like, I don't know all the due diligence steps of whatever the case may be to go ahead and bring a deal across the line. So I had my attorney with me every single deal, every single step of the way, negotiated everything. Typically, if you are selling an events-based business and it's like a rapid fire short sale in terms of like I said, somebody that you know, somebody's familiar with you, or you're just really just not charging that much and it's a really, really good deal, you can honestly expect to bring the deal over the line in like 60 to 90 days. If you're asking for a lot more, or you just have like, you're going with a completely cold audience, people who just don't know you, whatever the case may be, you can really expect to probably bring it across the line in 120 to 180 days, because things like they gotta get financing, or like I said, it's a super cold audience and they don't know you and they're doing their due diligence, whatever the case may be. So you wanna 100% make sure that you know what to expect, you know what to prepare for, so you can go ahead and get the deal across the line. And you, like, if you're really hurting for this money or you're itching for this bread or anything like that, like you just wanna know like, all right, cool, this isn't a liquid asset. This isn't like selling stocks or anything like that. You're selling a business. So it's gonna take some time to go ahead and get that process going. So let's just quickly recap. If you are interested in selling your business, your events-based business, or interested in buying an events-based business, these are the overall things that you can kind of take a look at, consider. Number 1 is assets. Of course, if you are selling your business, you wanna 100% make sure that there's actually something to sell. Like I said, 85 to 90% of businesses not worth more than the paper that they even stamp on. Stamped, like 100%. So if you are considering selling your business, just make sure you actually have something worth selling. Have a book of business. What are you selling in the business? Do you have leads in a CRM? You have invoices, you have purchase orders. If you have a weekly recurring client, like we talked about in our other video, that's huge. Do you have real estate that's part of the deal? Inventory, social media, things of that nature. Next, do you have financials? Make sure you have proper financials, a monthly P&L, a yearly P&L, tax returns, bank statements, things of that nature. If you have any trademarks, copyrights, these are all things that are really, really important. And then of course, especially as it pertains to the events-based business, you wanna 100% showcase those accounts receivable. That's gonna bring up your purchase price real nicely and actually make it a better business to sell overall. Number 2, when it comes down to marketing, if you don't wanna do it yourself, and I would say if you're selling a business for anything over than like $250,000, go ahead and hire a business broker, paying them a retainer or a percentage, whatever the case may be. And then number 2, you can just do it yourself. List it on Biz Buy Sell, list it on Craigslist, reach out to family and friends, whatever the case may be. Hey, I'm selling an event business, okay? Number 3, just be prepared for this. People are gonna bring out the attorneys. Don't be scared, don't be shocked, just be prepared, all right? Which is why you watch these videos. People are going to wanna do due diligence, which goes back to step number 1. And if you are looking to rapidly sell your business, like a rapid fire short sale kind of situation, you can expect to close, as in like the money's in your account, within 60 to 90 days. If they gotta go through financing, get a buyer, all that good stuff, brand new cold audience, all that good stuff, you're looking at 120, 180 days. Guys, my name is Brian Waldron. If you're new to the channel, definitely make sure you tap and subscribe. Show me a like, show me a comment. If there's anything that you wanna see in the future, drop me a comment so I can make it for you. For those who are interested in starting their very own event space so you can eventually get to the point of selling it yourself, definitely make sure you hit the link below. Ask about a premier offer where we can actually put you in a signed lease event space in the next 30 to 45 days, and let's tap in. Let's get it, let's go.